Have you ever had the desire to watch a black and white film where all the characters speak in the mysterious language of Esperanto?
La sono brillis hele in la cilia bluo.
Well, here's your chance. And also, this one stars the Shat, William Shatner. And we, of course, are talking about the 1966 horror film Incubus. This is a new Arrow 4K UHD Limited Edition release, and we're going to take a look at this thing. We're going to talk about the film, and we're going to talk about the 4K transfer in this video. And if you go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm Dave Watkins, Watkins Films. Incubus was directed by Leslie Stevens. Leslie Stevens, he was the creator of the Outer Limits television series. And here he decided to shoot this one in black and white, and also he has the actor speaking in this odd language, the Esperanto. Esperanto is a made-up language. Wasn't made up specifically for this movie, but it was created in the late 1800s, basically to make communication between different countries more easy. But it didn't really catch on. It was kind of a combination of different European languages like French, German, Italian, and Spanish, and so forth. It was interesting about it, and I think it's kind of a good thing because it had like the words, you say them exactly as they're spelled, and they don't have any silent letters. And I gotta ask you, what's the deal with silent letters anyway? I mean, take for instance the word salmon. Now, why is there an L in that word? I mean, does it make people look stupid if they say, "Hey, I want some salmon"? It's a good thing I don't even like salmon, so I don't have to say it very often. But can you imagine? Because you hear somebody say, "Hey, man, I want some salmon," and they're like, "Oh, he's an idiot. He said that L in there." But anyway, that's the way that they speak in this film, and it's not. They don't say salmon. They don't even say salmon at all because they speak in Esperanto. Again, the film stars William Shatner, and this is William Shatner right before he made Star Trek and became more famous. So he wasn't famous at all, I guess, when they made this, even though he had all those qualities about him, kind of arrogant type of qualities about him already on display. And he really carried himself and the film. Well, some of the other actresses and stuff in the film are quite impressive as well. But this film is about it seems to take place in a rural village. Now, this is like a horror film about demons or succubuses who like kind of hang around this town where there's this well. Now, people come to this well. They think that they drink the water from the well and it'll make them well, or make them feel better, or make them younger, or whatnot. And so most of the time, these people are not nice people. They're corrupt people, and then they come and try to drink from the water, and then these succubuses are hanging around, and then they lure them back to the ocean, and then they drown them in the ocean. It's a pretty crazy amount. But so the main succubus here, Kaya, is she's kind of getting bored of killing all these guys who are like shitheads. So she's like, I want to find somebody who's not one and then kill him. And she's warned against this by her sister. She's like, don't do that. You might fall in love, and if you fall in love, it's just gonna cause a big thing. And that's kind of like, so she finds William Shatner's character, and she starts to follow him and creep up on him, and eventually starts to interact. And then so basically it causes a lot of trouble for both of the characters. Essentially, the Incubus is kind of a demon that they later on have to call up, and he comes up from the ground, and they have to summon him to help them, the succubuses, later on. It's a very simple story, but it's told very effectively. I like the way there's kind of two points of view to the story. You got the succubus, Kaya, and you got William Shatner's character, who he's out there hanging out at this cabin with his sister, this remote cabin. But you've got kind of two different points of view. I really think it's funny, especially taking the point of view of the succubus for quite some time. She's the first character you see. And then so it's nice to see the point of view of kind of like a demon, and how her point of view is like it's just kind of hilarious, kind of darkly hilarious to me. So even though I've had this DVD laying around for probably over 10 years, I never have opened it or watched it. I finally did, to compare it to the new 4K version. But I did finally open up the shrink wrap, and the disc was in there, and everything played fine. So but other than it looked a lot worse than the 4K, obviously. This was thought to be lost for a long period of time. It says on when you pop this in, they found one last copy of it in France, and that's where they got this master from. And the Occasionally you'll see some subtitles, some French subtitles sneak in at the bottom. There's regular Esperanto subtitles throughout the film, but occasionally you'll see some French ones pop up on the bottom of the screen. It's not that distracting. You kind of have to take it like it is, because that's all we got of this film, and it's the best copy. And really, it looks pretty good, that being the case. It is black and white, and I did compare it. When I compared it to the DVD, it does have quite an uptick in quality as far as the detail and the black levels and the contrast. I think this is aided a lot by the HDR, which is put on to this 4K. Even though HDR typically deals more with color, it does help with the black levels and the contrast. And it really looks pretty good. Even the detail, a lot of times, a lot of the film is kind of overexposed to a certain degree, and that may not be from the original photography. It might come from like the print and the upscaling. The original movie was shot in 137:1, which is got the black bars and kind of looks like this with the black bars on the side. So this version is presented in widescreen, so it takes up your whole TV set. And that kind of makes me think that they had to zoom in and cut out part of the top and the bottom of the original image. But it does look, that being the case, it looks very good. So just to show you the difference here between the aspect ratios and kind of the quality, I did record the TV screen a little bit. I'm going to place two of the scenes up here. Now here's the first one where this is the aspect ratio of 137:1, as you can see the black bars on the side. And this is the way I think it was originally shot. And it's black and white and Esperanto, yada, yada, yada. And here's the second one from this new Aero 4K disc where you see it full screen. But and as you can see, everything looks a little better. The blacks are much deeper, and just the details are better in general. And it actually holds up fairly well. I think that it's not necessarily for everybody, because you have to read those Esperanto subtitles, and it is black and white. But I really think that it has a nice sense of dread throughout the film, and it's a very unique movie. So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing. If I can get it out of this, I'll get it out. Don't worry, I got it. There we go. All right, you got the same poster here on this one as you have here. Let's take a look on the inside. We only have one disc. This is a 4K UHD disc. There's also a card here for Demolition Man, which is a recent Aero release, and I did a review on it already, and you can check that out on this channel. It's got a slight little pamphlet booklet in here. Here it is. Now let's take a look at the reverse. We're going to look at this booklet a little bit more. Let's take a look at the reverse cover. It's the same. Kinda. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Alright, without any further ado, let's look at this booklet a little bit. So here's the cover of it, Incubus, and here's the sister on the back, one of the succubi. Or maybe succubus. I'm not sure how you do that. It might have succubi. A few essays. Here's a goat. By the way, there's at one point the Incubus turns into a goat near the end of the movie. That's awesome when that happens. There's Kaya there. Now, I really like the actress who plays Kaya. She does a really good job, and very, very eerie performance on screen. And I do like the locations here. It's all out. Like, not all of it. Most of it's outside, except for the interior, the cabin scenes and so forth. But they got some beach scenes and things of that nature earlier on, where they bring the guys to the beach and kill them. There's also a church. That's right. There's a church location in the village. Let's read a little bit about the presentation, because I think this was a very interesting process for this film. Incubus was restored in 4K resolution by Lachey Q Fume. That's a French name. I'm pronouncing it wrong. Who supplied the restored masters to Aero Films for this release. It is presented in 185:1 and 137:1 aspect ratios. The former in full 4K with HDR10 and Dolby Vision, and the later in SDR 1080p. The original camera negative and other pre-print materials for the film are missing, presumed lost, believed to have been mistakenly destroyed by the facility housing them. The last known surviving 35mm print in the world, located in France and supplied by Emmanuel Rosy, probably pronounced wrong as well, was scanned for this new digital restoration. As the source is a French distribution print, you will see burn-in subtitles within the frame that could not be removed without compromising the integrity of the image. That's what I was talking about earlier with those subtitles. Occasionally they'll sneak in there. Not that distracting and very, very rare within the film. We hope the subtitles do not affect your enjoyment of the film. So that's kind of what it says about the film. I kind of went over that a little bit earlier, but this is my first time reading that, so it was. They did have a little bit of a caption at the beginning of the film to kind of warn you about that. They didn't say anything about the French subtitles sneaking in. The film is fairly short. I think it's about an hour and 14 minutes. I don't know if there was additional stuff that was shot or if it was always intended to be that short. The time works. I think when you're watching this film, to me, the first maybe 30 minutes is the most interesting, when you're most engaging, because just kind of the setup. And I really felt like, even like when she's following Shatner's character, but really the whole movie is very creepy. I'm not going into any deep spoilers about what eventually happens to these characters, but I will say I do like the exploration of the themes of this film. It's quite fascinating, especially when you put these two different types of characters, good versus evil, and they both kind of display qualities of both throughout the film. So it is kind of a layered film in a way, even though it is somewhat simple. So let's go ahead and rate the film. I'm going to rate this film on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest. I'm going to give the film a 3.5-star rating. I think it's a very engrossing film. It is, like I said before, it's not necessarily for everybody, but I didn't necessarily think it was going to be for me, because I didn't watch this for over 10 years and it was just sitting on my shelf. But I finally got around to watching it once this Arrow put out this release. But as far as this Arrow presentation, I really like the presentation. I'm going to give them a 4-star for what they've done. Obviously, they didn't do the restoration themselves, but they included that. They also have a lot of special features about the film on here, including some fairly informative interviews and things of that nature. Hey, if you would do me a favor and go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'm Dave Watkins. Thanks for watching.